Hi, good morning. Hi, good morning, everyone. My name is Laura Moreno Lucas, and we are here live for the Thredup IPO watch party. And I have my co-host here, Achilles Larea. Hi, Achilles. How are you doing this morning?
Good morning, buenos dias. Hello, everybody. I hope everybody's having a great morning. We're at the end of the week. We have a great IPO coming out, and I can't tell you how excited I am to see this. This is giving me some old memories, but we'll get into that later.
Yeah, it's been an interesting time the past few months on the market, right? We started off a little bit with a bang. It's gone up and down. There's been the last time we talked, we were talking about the GameStop controversy, then the Bumble IPO, and now we're here at the Thredup IPO watch party. So lots happened, and I think I'm excited about what's to come. The reopening, everybody getting vaccinated. So I'm sure that
Present
it's
company included.
nice. I'm actually going to get vaccinated today, which
Oh, cool.
yeah, my sister had her first vaccination and she felt a little woozy afterwards. So I don't have a lot planned for this afternoon because I'm expecting to maybe feel woozy, but maybe not. I don't know. How did you
It
feel after you?
depends. I took the Moderna, and after the second shot, that was a doozy. The second shot laid me out for almost a day, but then I talked to people who took Pfizer. They had a little soreness in their arm, but then they were fine. And then you have guys like my brother who felt nothing. So, you
Yeah,
just don't
yeah.
know.
Yeah, I had my mom, I was worried about her and my dad after they got their shot, not feeling that well. But it looks like, they just were just like, oh, it was just like, any other shot that we see. So glad where people are kind of getting the shot and being able to get back into society and see each other. So that's been a blessing.
Yeah. Should be
Um,
an interesting fall.
Right, right. Well, Achilles, why don't we take a moment and let's just share with everybody why we're here and, introduce ourselves. So, like I mentioned at the bottom of the hour, my name is Laura Moreno Lucas. I am the CEO and founder of PandoCap, and PandoCap demystifies the capital markets for all. So we really are here to share insights on what an IPO is, what happens the day of an IPO, as well as, sharing some insights about what to expect after the IPO, because a lot of people have some misconceptions about, what it takes leading up to an IPO, what happens after, and it is a lot of work. So it is a monumentous day for Thredup. I'm sure they've been working really hard to get to this point. And just a little bit about my background. I used to be at NASDAQ, so I saw a lot of the inner workings of what happens through this process. And prior to that, I was an entrepreneur myself, so I can really appreciate this journey. And so I'm really excited to share some of that with you guys today. So Achilles, what about you? What's your background, and maybe share a little bit more about your story with our audience?
I ha- I have no idea why I'm here. No, I'm just kidding. I, I, I'm the CEO and founder of Larea Wealth Management. We've been around, this is our 19th year. I opened the firm back in March of 2002. I wanted a firm that catered to both the Latino and non-Latino community, but where you weren't just a number, where if you needed help, say you were retiring, say you just wanted to understand more about money and the like, that you had somebody in your corner. It was born out of something that happened with my mother. She used to work in the garment district and for 20 years, and she was laid off, and she had no practical financial advice or advisor at the time. I just felt she could have done much better had she had somebody in a corner. And that gives me the juice, the motivation, and the drive every single day to help people out on a daily basis. And that's what we're all about. We've not changed the mission. We think that the markets should be accessible to everyone and every facet of that market. The IPO, the initial public offering market, is a wonderful way to get involved. It is not the only way, but if we make this palatable, if we make this interesting to people, why not? Let's get involved. Let's make money all together. And that's what it's all about, isn't it?
It is. It is. That's true. That's truly what it's all about. So, at helping other people understand how they can get involved and how to participate is the most important. So you have to start somewhere. So, that's what we're here today to share some of this information. So let's talk a little bit about Thredup. And I have the information here on, what Thredup is. And they announced their pricing. So the way this works is last night they priced their IPO, and it was at $14 per share, and they're selling, they have a $12 million offering of shares of Class A common stock. And so what's going to happen is once they start trading, so they already did their opening bell ceremony this morning. I saw some of that coverage. And now their stock is going to open very shortly here and hopefully start trading above $14. Now, I know the market has been a little choppy this week, and I have seen some IPOs that haven't performed that well this week, but hopefully they'll do great. They, I think it's a great concept. It really plays into the sustainability aspect of where retail is going. So it's a consignment model. They allow you to return some of the clothes and then they resell them for you. So I'm hoping that they do well. And their ticker symbol is TDUP. So for those who want to participate in that, it's TDUP. And like I said, they should start trading shortly. And so, Achilles, why don't you share a little bit about what that means and how it works from a retail brokerage perspective? Where can people go to actually start participating in it?
Well, the first thing you want to do, that's a great question, Laura. The first thing that you want to do is find out who are the book runners. All right. So in this particular case, it's usually the major houses. You got, in this case, JP Morgan, I think, is one of them. Who are the other two? In this case, so we have, usually you have your Merrill.
Goldman, Morgan Stanley, and Barclays are the book runners for this.
Okay. So there's where you want to start. If you are a client of one of those firms, you're going to have first crack in terms of getting the stock before it actually comes out in the market. And you're usually not paying a commission to do so. And retail brokers like me usually get a very small percentage, but that's the name of the game. You only have a limited amount of shares. But more importantly is that when this goes out in the open market, we always ask ourselves the questions as advisors. We say, is this or could this be a fundamental part of what we're going to do going forward? The sustainability, the fact that the company, for lack of a better word, if you remember getting hand-me-downs, all right, because I remember getting hand-me-downs. I have two older brothers, so I remember getting hand-me-downs. They have taken the hand-me-down market and made it virtual, so you can go and you don't have to deal with the dirty laundry part of aspect of it. So that's kind of cool too. But they've also priced this quite reasonably. It was between $12 and $14. That they priced it on the higher end, which is always a good thing, by the way. When you worry when they price it between 12 and 14 and they say, oh, I think it's going to come out at 10. That's when you start worrying about these things. But no, it's on the higher end. We've got a good environment, a good market for this company to go open in. They're not issuing that many shares. They could have issued a lot more shares. We're talking about a valuation, 168 million. It's in line with the amount of money that they've been making for quite some time. So they're not, you know, I find that the book runners almost always are very prudent in their pricing. And when they start getting a field or getting off topic, as we might call it, it's when the hype of a particular issuance takes over. And, I mean, I can remember an internet company back in the late 90s, early 2000s, they might have said, well, we're looking at a $40 price, and then all of a sudden it's opening up at $80. And we saw that with Bumble as well, but it wasn't as dramatic. It was in line, and the stock has been doing quite well in that short period of time it's been trading. So that was a great call in terms of looking at that IPO and having an IPO party on that, Laura. So lots of things going on with the book runners. When you get this, you also as a client, you want to ask yourself, is this going to be a core part of my portfolio, or am I going to hold it for more than 15 months, or am I going to just trade this? Which means less than 4 months or less. Some people, they just want immediate gratification. It's like a good looking dress, or a good looking suit. The guy says something, I love this suit today, but then tomorrow they don't love it. So they might
Well,
just put it up on Thredup.
yeah, you can put it up on Thredup. Exactly.
Exactly. We're going to put it up on this suit is, I just got it the other day. I'm not going to put it on Thredup anytime soon. But if I didn't like it, I could most certainly do so. And I wouldn't have to take the bag over to my aunt's house, to lay off,
No,
to give these clothes to someone else, I could
yeah,
actually
no,
make money off it.
right. And their concept is really cool. Actually, the way they started was around baby clothes. I remember when they launched, and quite funny is when I had actually had my little girl. I have a little 6-year-old, beautiful Adriana Lucas, and I saw this platform because I felt so bad about giving some of her clothing, just either throwing it away or whatever, just giving it away. And so I said, well, maybe, is there other alternatives? And so then that's when I saw, Thredup. And obviously you can always also donate to, some of the
Charities, yeah, absolutely.
charities. So that's another thing that we do. But also, this is just very valuable because then I'm able to, give some of that to Thredup, recycle it, and then have it put back into the ecosystem. So they call that the circular economy, which is really popular right now. There's also a lot of other companies internationally that are very focused on this because, fast fashion and fashion.
If you think about it,
Yeah.
think about it, you're that circular economy, it's allowing you to fill up your wardrobe and fill it up with decent clothes. And if you love now, you may not love it later, but it's you an alternative as to just your charities, and people love options. And I think it's important to have options. And this is a capitalist option. So, you could be partially to your charity and then partially to the capitalist part of you, and then go in the middle for family if you want, or friends. So a lot of ways to sustain and have, if you're a young person, you're blowing $1,000 on clothes. You can get something like Thredup to work for you, and you fill your closet up at a much lesser price point.
Yeah. You're breaking up a little bit, but that's okay. No, exactly. You absolutely can have a key value when you do that, when you actually go through this process and consign. And I think it's great. And so, let's talk a little bit about, some of the things that have gone out in the market that are like this and their performance. So if we look back at the Real, which is, a similar concept, but more on the high-end luxury consignment side, right? And so you're dealing with things like the Gucci's and the Louis Vuittons and the higher end brands. And I think that's also really key to recycle them. They did pretty good. I was there on their IPO day, and it's been, it's been trending up. They did start opening more retail stores recently. Now, because of the pandemic, they pulled back. But I think that, like I mentioned, a lot more of these concepts, I think the performance on the IPO after they go public has been pretty good. I wouldn't say it's like a rocket ship on the returns, but they've been, quite decent. And that, see where it takes them, what kind of other offerings they come up with. What would be interesting to see is if they could then combine all of them and do some of the rent the runway model, and basically consolidate all of the different offerings into one, right? You have the consignment model, you have the new clothes model, you have the rent the runway model. So if you did all of it in one, that would be an interesting concept, I think. What's your thought on that, Achilles?
Stop giving away. Stop giving ideas away. Someone's gonna steal your idea. No, I say there's plenty of places where you could easily pick up a few points here and there, but more importantly, the trend is important. And we say you could have bad stock and have good stocks, but if the trend is on your side, you are going to make money. And I believe that all these type of companies are exactly that, where the trend is on, it's favorable, and we're just starting to see the beginning of this. Do you agree?
Yeah, and I'm going to bring in the CEO is actually on right now, so I'm going to bring him
online at great prices. And I think if you browse the Thredup site day in and day out, you'll see we do that. And we have great brands, everything from Gap to Gucci, and that delights buyers across the pricing ecosystem. And so, we grew active buyers last year 24%. And so feel very good about the stable active buyer numbers and the supply that we're seeing.
James, how do you get that flow of sellers, though? Is it partnerships with perhaps some brick and mortar, maybe even if they're not selling clothes, if they just have people in the demographic that has the clothes that you want? I mean, it seems like low-cost ways of doing that could be pretty key to your long-term success.
Well, yeah, I mean, look, we've never spent a single dollar, marketing for sellers. I think it's one of the unique value propositions that we've been able to provide. And so sellers come to us organically. We've never had a problem grabbing supply. And so, yeah, we do some partnerships offline. We do partnerships online. But look, I think what really speaks to the power of what we've built is how many organic sellers are coming to the platform. And then the fact that our repeat rates are so high. 77% of our supply comes from repeat sellers. So we feel very good about the ecosystem that we've created.
James, coming out of the pandemic, and people armed with new stimulus checks, is there a risk that consumers are going to want to get out, buy new things, spend money in stores? Do you think that people will want secondhand clothes, or does that sort of all fit into your ecosystem, right? More to sell in the longer run. What does growth sort of look like in the near term?
Well, look, I don't know if we're getting into the roaring 20s or not, but I feel pretty good about consumers getting back out in the world, where apparel market, broadly is going to go in 2021. And I think we have a great opportunity to capture some of that market. I think we're still going to be, in a recession. There's still some members of the community that are suffering. And so Thredup provides great brands at great prices. And so while many people will go out, and I expect that they will buy new clothes, I think the value proposition of used remains very, very strong. Not only this year, but in the next few years. And so we feel very confident around what 2021 will look like for us. And I think the stimulus checks will provide some incremental wind at our sales.
James, your biggest expense is operations, product, and technology. How much of that is technology, and what's the outlook on getting that more stable, perhaps even down?
Yeah, look, I think the investments that we're making is what's really driving, the market opportunity for buyers and for sellers. We talk internally, we're building, the Amazon of resale, and that requires significant infrastructure investments, significant technology investments. But again, I think all of that contributes to us driving our strong unit economics. And so I think those things will leverage over time. But look, we're not going to back down from building a monster business in this category. We're going to continue to invest and continue to build out our processing infrastructure, because that's ultimately what creates competitive advantage in this category. And I think it's super exciting.
James, it's Courtney again. I want to talk a little bit about item accept.
He just gave his secret sauce away, right? They want to be the Amazon of resale. Uh-oh. I don't even know if Amazon plays in this space on the resale side, but they don't need any more ideas. Are you there, Akeem?
The Amazon will definitely, yeah, the Amazon will definitely get into that space amongst many other spaces, because they're looking to be dominated more. So this is an area that they'll be looking at later on, if not now. I wouldn't be surprised if they're already thinking about
Yeah.
it. But Thredup has a unique value proposition. And I think the fact that they've built this infrastructure and they're looking to augment that infrastructure, a bit with the technology, with the things that they're going to need going forward. List of many funding rounds, for whether they'll be an IPO route or so, just the first of many, because it is capital intensive to build these structures and in the future.
Yeah. Well, Achilles, we're here at the top of the hour, and we're going to wait to see how they start trading. I think it's a great, like I mentioned, I think it's a great story. I think, we wish them all the best on their trading success. And so if you're interested in picking up Thredup, again, they should start trading shortly. They were priced at $14 a share. So I think this is a great opportunity for those who are looking for something that's more economical. And I really believe in the sustainable branding that they have and their model. So thank you very much, everybody, for watching. Achilles, thank you very much for co-hosting with me. And we will be back again soon on another IPO watch party.
My pleasure.